Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Azazel. With the booster pack update, I was really hoping that today I would be seeing some of the more new items, but sadly that didn't really happen. And I think that's quite telling, the fact that when they add essentially 10 extra items, which might not seem like a lot, but when you think about it, it's still 10 extra items. And the fact that we didn't see them, I think that's really telling as to how diluted the item pools are. With Isaac especially, it feels sometimes that even items which should be more common, so something like rubber cement for example, I feel like I see Mom's Knife and Brimstone more than I see that particular item, and I don't know if that's just maybe factual evidence, maybe that's just how I feel about it, maybe it's the fact that rubber cement isn't that special of an item, and maybe even in some cases when you pick it up it doesn't really have an effect, because maybe you don't have an item that synergizes well with it. And all of those contributions, I would imagine all of those things do contribute to me feeling like some items are rarer than others, while they're probably still uniformly distributed. But just the fact, like I said, that there aren't these new items, really that they're not showing up, is probably a result of variance, and also just a result of that there are so many items in the game that finding a few of them is probably not that big of a task. While I thought that maybe some of these items would show up much more frequently, not frequently, but that we did have somewhat of a good chance of actually encountering them, is because on an average run I would say you get like 20 to 30 items, depends on how long the run is, and obviously some runs you just break it and the average probably goes way up because of that, but in most cases I would imagine you see like 30 items, and if there are like 600 items in the game, I feel like the odds of seeing one of those 10 items would be pretty good. But like I said, again, didn't really happen, and I can't be too upset. But obviously whenever there's new content in the game, it's always exciting to experience it and to see it, and especially if you can actually get some good use out of it. That's not to say that some are items which are already in the game which you just don't see ever, and like Sacred Heart or maybe Godhead, but that's maybe more of a result or a problem with the Angel Room pool than anything else, so I don't think that's kind of fair to judge, at least not in that sense. But this drive in particular was a really strong one at the start. The first item contained Cricket's Head, and Cricket's Head is great because not only does it increase damage, but it also increases your damage multiplier by 1.5, or I believe it just sets it to 1.5, or maybe even times 2. Which means that any damage you get past that point is multiplied and you get basically a bonus damage. So Cricket's Head is just an item that just blows every other damage item out of the water. It's up there with Magic Mush. Magic Mush sure does have some other attributes with it, like range and I think speed, maybe some other stats as well. Obviously also a great item, you also get health out of it. But in some situations, just as raw damage, I would say that Cricket's Head is, for me at least, a much more beneficial item, because I don't like the fact that my sprite increases in size whenever I pick up Magic Mush, but it's maybe more of a personal preference than anything else. And after that we got Pyro, which is also obviously great. We got 99 bombs. We can find basically every secret room and every second secret room. We have 99 bombs, which means we swag, or we hit the cap on that particular swag bonus. And we also found the IV bag. We also found the penny trinket, which gives us keys whenever we pick up coins, and essentially this means that we've covered all 3 of our consumables, and just over time, as I get actually more health, as I use Ivy Bag more and more, my coins will go up to 99, and because of the penny, I'll also get 99 keys eventually. So that's kind of a good combo of every item that we got in general, and I do imagine a lot of people have found it, but I do think I made an interesting decision at some regard. I had 15 sets exactly, and in most cases you don't really want to maybe spend that unless you get a really good shop item, because I think getting an arcade is so much more valuable. But in this case, because I had enough of the other consumables, I thought Mom's Purse, I think, is an okay item in some regard, and definitely think that in a round it goes to Mom's Heart. If there is any chance that I'm gonna get some trinkets which will kind of help me break the game, I think it's a good idea to actually pick that one up, and I decided to buy Mom's Purse, and I think it paid off in some regard. I was get to keep the rusted rusted key with the penny. And of course, Rusted Key, I think, increases the chance of you finding keys from golden treasure chests, and the penny just gives you more keys. And maybe that's not the best combination of trinkets, but I still feel like every single one of those trinkets has contributed to just me getting more points. And that's obviously always good whenever you can kind of get down with that. In here, I decided not to pick up any of the Devil Deal items, and I had several reasons to do that. First of all, the first item one was Mom's Knife and something else which you don't generally want to pick up, and I decided in that situation, I think that Mom's Knife doesn't synergize with Azazel, or at least it didn't the last time I played, so maybe it does now, but I thought, why pick up a special item which doesn't really do anything, even though it's a bit of a bummer, because just seeing Mom's Knife makes other special items much rarer, so they don't show up as often, so that's also a bummer. So essentially just entering killing that devil deal has kind of put us in a worse position than if we didn't really go in. And the other reason was I didn't have enough health. I decided if I picked it up, sure I would be at 2 spirit hearts, but with no red hearts to go around, it's really kind of a risky situation, and it's a trap I've fallen myself into so many times before, just being at low health, being hit once or twice, and end up dying because of it. So I decided I'm gonna stick with my 5 spirit hearts, and maybe this is the day where I can take advantage of the angel rooms. And to some regard I did, because I think I got out of it only 1 angel room, so I was kind of unlucky in the fact that I didn't really get any devil deals or angel rooms, and the 1 angel room I did get at least has 2 statues in there. So first of all, I killed the first statue, I got like 500 points. I killed the other one, also got an additional 500 points. So in total it was still a net positive in my opinion, even though the other devil deals, maybe that particular devil deal which would have been there instead of an angel room was the breaking one, but I felt just because I did get Cricket's head so early on, my run was pretty much set. But being a 10 damage with Brimstone is just something that kind of carries you to basically Shoal, and I think even the Dark Room in some regards, you just have to play really well. I'm not saying that I have a lot of damage or maybe that I'm set for this run, but the fact that I don't have any other DPS items, and you can see at this point I only have 9 items in total, and I'm actually still or 10 if you count the active item, and I'm actually still managing to kill these rooms, and I'm actually struggling a lot with it. So that just goes a long way to tell you just how strong Brimstone is, and just how strong this particular combination of items is, because every time I'm kind of in a danger, I use my Ivy Bag, I get down to half a heart, I trigger my Polar Red Invincibility, and then I can use my, even though I have low range, my extreme damage to kind of deal with enemies much more quickly. And that obviously is a pretty good combo, and it's one of those things that doesn't really happen often, but when it does feel pretty good, especially on Azazel, just because Azazel does struggle. I felt like in this run especially, there were so many enemies which felt like they required a lot of range just to deal with, because getting close to them is very dangerous. They either shoot very fast or they shoot in multiple directions, so you really don't have an angle at which to approach them on. So having a way to kind of protect ourselves so we can get close and personal to deal as much damage as possible was just a good way of going about it. What really bothers me in some cases, and I never realized this until today, and I don't really know why, is that a lot of enemies which shoot bullets out of them, so like brains and guts and things like that, don't have a tell when they're going to shoot. And even Blastocyst, I think it's Blastocyst, they don't have a tell when they're going to shoot. There's a noise in some cases, but in some cases they just kind of propel their tears out. And usually that's not a problem because you're quite far away, you can see those tears coming, you can dodge. But in a case like Azazel, you're usually very close to them, and even when you kill them, they split into more enemies, and sometimes they're just, you can't react properly, or even if you react, you're not fast enough to actually get out of the way. It's a very similar problem has with those walkers at the start of the game. When you kill them, their head falls off and they start shooting randomly, and when you shoot them and kill them immediately, they just immediately, as soon as they die, or at least the first phase dies, they shoot a random tear in a random direction, and if you're very close to them, you can actually end up getting damage. So thankfully in this particular case I didn't get damage, but even though I had enough damage to kind of melt both of those stages of that enemy at once, I could still end up getting hit by one of them, just because that projectile is so instant and so fast, and really there's no time to react. Besides that, we did finish in a very comfortable 60th spot. Really can't complain too much. The fact that I only had 9 items and I was actually able to get this far. Our damage penalty was pretty high, but I think that's pretty telling just because we're playing as Azazel. Azazel does have short range, and sometimes you really can't avoid any of the damage. Our exploration bonus was a bit higher, I would imagine, than usual, just because we did go to that angel room, and because we did get something like 800 points extra by beating those angel statues, and obviously because of Pyro, we were also able to find all of the secret rooms and second secret rooms. Our Shrek bonus was also great, 8000, just because we did max out every single consumable that we had. We couldn't really break the game in the sense that we could have gotten much more consumables. For that you really do need some form of having infinite consumables just to kind of get to that point. Ivy Bag sadly just isn't enough. So all in all, a pretty good run. It was maybe not as exciting as some of the others, especially because there were no new items, but still I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.